simple life. It doesn't have much. It doesn't worry him where you're going. Yeah, 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 nowhere.
Okay, so this is a early 70s, possibly mid 70s General Electric wall clock, and you might think that, you know, what's so special about it? It's a standard, I believe, it's a 2112 model, electric clock. Well, this is not an electric clock. It's a very early battery clock, and you'd think, okay, then it's going to be, you know, a very early quartz clock, or maybe a tuning fork, or one of those transistorized balance wheel movements, or even a self-winding movement. But you look at that second hand, it's perfectly smooth, and it's not self-starting, so you think, okay, it could be a very early quartz clock. Most early quartz clocks, like my old Seth Thomas Quartz-matic clock, I used to have a wall clock version of one of those Quartz-matics. I don't have that anymore, but I still have the original, the little carriage clock, I guess is what it's called. I can make another video of that in the future. But that's a sweeping second hand, perfectly smooth, non-self-starting. You have to push the set knob in the back. Sometimes it takes a couple times. It's just the early quartz movements were, basically a low voltage AC synchronous motor. Even the newer ones, that's basically all they are. The quartz movements of the sweeping second hand, they're a very small synchronous motor that's just powered off of the quartz circuit to make the AC current. Well, this isn't that either. This is not a tuning fork. This is a very strange movement. This is the second one of these clocks I've had. This is the only one I've had that works. The first one I had did not work. The movement was not even complete. Bought it for $3 at a thrift store in Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half away from here. It was the Salvation Army, and that clock eventually got an electric sunbeam movement in it, just to make the clock work, because the movement was not even complete. This movement is a very strange one. This is very unique too. Runs on a D cell. It's the only D cell I could find that actually works. It's not a very efficient movement. There you go. Now if you can look under there, there is another label actually under there. I might actually pull that off so I can just put the other sticker over there. It's some double-sided tape. This is honestly coming off already as it is. This is a torsion band resonator movement, and the way this works, there's a reason why it takes a D cell, not a C cell. This is a glass face, so it's fine if I pull it across the table like that. It won't scratch. If you look over here, I'm not about to take this one apart. I wish I still had the other one. See, there's a coil there too, and down there is a little piece of wire with a little washer on it. You can probably barely see it vibrating. Well, come on, you fucker. Let's focus. You used to be good at doing focusing, and now you're not. I think this camera had one too many harsh bumps in its life. Let me get it focused. Okay, so inside that electromagnet, you see there's a little washer. It's blurry because it's vibrating. And there's a very thin piece of wire that's all mounted on it. You can barely see. If you look in the center of the screen above the coil of wire, there is a little circle that looks like it's vibrating a bit. That is actually vibrating like that. And then over here, you see there's a speed adjustment right there, which, as far as I know, just tightens and loosens that that wire, that band. That's the torsion band. That is the that's what sets the frequency. And over here we have a synchronous motor, which is a standard low voltage synchronous motor. Spins probably, from the looks of it, about 200 RPM, give or take. I can probably get the patent information for this and put it in the description, and because I know I have seen it, as well as the another video, one of these running an acrylic demo clock with this movement in it when it first came out, which I believe is in 1972. This is a very rare movement. It's not a very common movement to have. There's not many of them left. I don't think there was all that many made. And the fact is that I have one that's working perfectly fine. It's pretty unique. This is just to set the time. It's not set to the correct time, but you just turn this either way. It's a kind of a cheap clock face. It does bow quite a bit, but a lot of GEs from this time were like that. But this movement's really the unique part. And like any other synchronous clock, you know, non-self-starting motor, it can be run in the wrong direction, but it's very hard to do. We take the battery out, put it back in, give it a second. I will not leave a battery in this clock for long periods of time because you can see this clock has already had it running with a leaking battery at some point in its life. The other one I had corroded and went all the way up and destroyed the PCB inside. And you just start that. There you go. Now it's running. And it's very quiet and it's very accurate. I did fiddle with the speed adjustment a little bit, but now it's, you know, this thing is accurate to say within about a second a day, which is fair, and that's honestly about what a modern quartz clock is. So for what it's worth, this clock is pretty much quartz accurate now that I've adjusted the speed, and it's very cool. I don't leave the battery in it for long periods of time. I really could, honestly, because I'm not one of those people that's going to forget that there's battery in it and notice the clock's not running, and especially with something like this, I would check and make sure the battery's not leaking. I'd probably put a little bit of paper around the ends of the battery just in case. And even if it did corrode, it would take a very long time for it to get inside the movement to the electronics, since there are wires that run into it, and I could replace the wires in the terminals if I had to. Anyway, so that's a GE torsion band movement clock. Very, I wouldn't say rare, but it's not very common. You see a few of them here and there, but that's about it. From the early to mid 70s. Thank you for watching.
Happy the man. He leads a simple life. It doesn't have much. It doesn't worry him where you're going.